Hey, welcome back to this channel. If you think you already know everything there is to know about Park Jimin, that one member of BTS, then get ready to have your mind completely blown. Because today we are talking about something that will make your jaw drop to the floor. Picture this. A man walks into a military barracks as one of the most famous K-pop artists on the planet and walks out as a world record holder in two completely different arenas at the same time. And that's not even the wildest part. Seasoned trainers who have spent decades shaping thousands of soldiers could not hide their shock. Not one bit. This is not a made-up story. This is real. Every single fact you are about to hear is documented and verified. In this video, we are going to break it all down, from the Guinness World Records that shook the global music industry to the military commendations that nobody saw coming. If you are an army, grab your tissues. If you are not an army yet, just stay until the end of this video. You might become one. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video like this. Alright, let's get into it. Before we talk about those jaw-dropping records, let's take a moment to properly introduce the main character of today's story, Park Jimin, known to the world simply as Jimin. Born on October 13, 1995, in Busan, South Korea, Jimin joined BTS from the very beginning, debuting with the group in 2013. He is the group's main dancer, the most prestigious position in a K-pop boy band. But Jimin is so much more than a dancer. He is a complete artist, a vocalist, a performer, a songwriter, and as we are about to discover, a fighter in the truest sense of the word. What sets Jimin apart from most other artists is that he never stops proving himself. In an industry built on pressure, competition, and constant scrutiny, Jimin always comes out stronger than before. And as we will see today, that drive does not only apply on stage. It applies everywhere, even in the last place you would ever expect it. So what exactly is it that left trainers, experts, and the entire world so stunned? Let's start at the beginning of this incredible story. We start where Jimin is most at home, music. On May 26, 2023, Guinness World Records officially announced something extraordinary. Park Jimin of BTS had become the fastest male solo K-pop artist to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify, and he did it in just 393 days. 393 days. Less than 14 months. To reach a number that many major artists around the world never hit in their entire careers. And here is what makes it even more remarkable. The record he broke was also held by a member of BTS. Jungkook had set that same record just months earlier, reaching the billion stream mark in 409 days. That means Jimin cut the record by 16 full days. One bandmate overtaking another. That is the kind of friendly competition that pushes both of them to be better, and honestly, it is one of the most wholesome things in the music industry right now. How did Jimin get there so fast? The key was his debut solo album, Face, released on March 24, 2023. The world received it with an electric kind of excitement. The lead single, Like Crazy, became the first solo song by a Korean artist to debut at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Let that sink in for a second. Number 1, on the most prestigious music chart in the United States. For a Korean solo artist. For the very first time in history. But Jimin's records do not stop there. His very first solo release, Promise, dropped quietly on SoundCloud back in December 2018 as nothing more than a gift to his fans. No major label push. No marketing campaign. Just Jimin, a song, and the fans who loved him. And that song, that simple, heartfelt gift, went on to earn 2 official Guinness World Records. It became the most streamed track on SoundCloud of all time, racking up over 330 million plays. And it also holds the record for the most streams on SoundCloud in a single 24-hour period. Think about what that means. A song that was never officially promoted by any label broke the biggest streaming records on the platform. That is not luck. That is the sheer power of the bond between Jimin and the people who listen to his music. The story of his record-breaking then carried forward into his second solo album, Muse, released in July 2024. The lead single, Who, became a global phenomenon unlike anything that had come before it. On February 28, 2025, Who hit 1.5 billion streams on Spotify, making it the fastest song by any K-pop act to ever reach that milestone. It got there in just 223 days, 7 months. to explode into a number that most international artists never even dream of touching. On top of that, Who debuted at number 1 on Spotify's Global 200 and the Global XL US chart, and it stayed on the Billboard Hot 100 for 33 weeks, the longest run in that chart's history for any K-pop solo artist or group. By the end of 2024, Spotify's own year-end wrap confirmed that Who was the most streamed K-pop song globally for the entire year. Its physical sales crossed 3 million units in the United States alone, making Jimin the first K-pop solo artist in a decade to reach that milestone. And as of January 31st, 2025, Jimin became the first and only K-pop soloist to have 9 different songs, each surpassing 200 million streams on Spotify. 9 songs. That is not a one-hit wonder. That is not even a two-hit wonder. That is an artist who has built a catalog of undeniable, timeless music that people all over the world keep coming back to, over and over again. Those 9 tracks include Who, Like Crazy, Set Me Free PT2, Like Crazy, English version, Lie, Serendipity, Filter, With You, and Smeraldo Garden Marching Band. Musicians, industry analysts, and major label executives have all been left speechless by what one man, with just 2 solo albums, has managed to do to the global streaming landscape. It had simply never been done before. Not by any Asian artist, not at this speed, and not with this kind of sustained dominance. Now we get to the part of the story that genuinely shocked everyone. And this is probably the section you least expected. In December 2023, Jimin enlisted for South Korea's mandatory military service alongside his fellow BTS member Jungkook. The two of them reported together to the 5th Division Recruit Training Center of the Army in Yongkyon. For context, South Korean military service is no joke. This is not a light training program. It is an intensive, demanding regimen specifically designed to forge soldiers who are strong in body and mind. Plenty of fully grown adults, people who have spent their whole lives doing physical work, have struggled to keep up. So what happened when Park Jimin walked through those gates? Something that made even the most experienced trainers look twice. Just weeks after entering, Jimin was recognized as the top recruit in his cohort. He received the Best Recruit Training Curriculum Award from the commander of the 5th Infantry Division, a commendation officially given on January 17, 2024. The instructors and trainers who had watched thousands of recruits come and go, many of whom had never even heard of Jimin before he enlisted, had to admit that this person was different. His dedication, his discipline, and his physical performance were above average, even among recruits who had spent their entire lives in far more physically demanding environments. Take a moment to imagine that from the trainer's perspective. You have spent years, maybe decades, shaping soldiers. You have seen every kind of recruit walk through that door. And then one day, an international pop star shows up. Someone who has spent most of his life on tour buses, in recording studios, and under concert stage lights. And he ends up being the best recruit you have ever trained. That is a moment that stays with you. But Jimin was not done. He received an early promotion, an honor that is not handed out easily and requires consistently extraordinary performance. On February 7, 2025, he was awarded a certificate of commendation for hard flag training as a battalion commander, a recognition that showed he was not only a skilled soldier, but a capable leader. He earned the Army Veteran Award from the commander of the 5th Infantry Division, the highest commendation he carried out of his service. And perhaps most staggering of all, Jimin received the Best CBR Education Award for the second half of the past 24 years. CBR stands for Chemical, Biological, and Radiological Training, one of the most technically demanding and physically grueling parts of any military program. And in 24 years, in the second half of that training period, no recruit had performed at the level Jimin performed. 24 years. That is not a small window. That is a legacy. On June 11, 2025, Jimin officially completed his military service. And the very next day, the world got to see something deeply moving. He posted photos of his commendations on Instagram story, not to show off, but as a quiet act of gratitude and remembrance for the journey he had just completed. Armies around the world were in tears. Industry observers were stunned. And those trainers who may have quietly wondered whether a pop star could truly survive the hardship of military life, they had their answer. A very clear one. there is one final chapter to this story that we simply cannot leave out. On May 17, 2026, Guinness World Records added BTS to the most exclusive list they have ever created, the Icon List. BTS became the first act from Asia and the only musical group to receive this status, joining names like Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Drake, Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Dolly Parton. Let that sink in. A K-pop group from Seoul, South Korea, sitting alongside the most legendary solo artist the Western world has ever produced. The icon status from Guinness is not just an award. It is a recognition of a cultural shift, an acknowledgement that this group did not just make music, they changed the way the world thinks about pop culture, about fandom, about what it means to be a global artist in the 21st century. And Jimin, as one of the 7 members at the heart of that legacy, is deeply woven into every thread of that achievement. With his record-breaking streaming numbers, his RIA certifications, his Billboard chart history, and now his decorated military service, Jimin has proven beyond any doubt that he is a phenomenon that transcends genre, culture, and every conventional boundary that has ever been placed on what an artist can be. We cannot close this video without talking about what we can actually learn from the journey of Park Jimin, because there are lessons here that go far beyond music and far beyond K-pop. The first lesson is that dedication knows no boundaries. Jimin proved that a person can excel in more than one arena if they bring genuine commitment to everything they do. He did not walk into that military barracks with the mindset of just getting through it. He walked in as a world-class performer who had spent years training his body, sharpening his mind, and refusing to give anything less than his absolute best. And the result? He became the best there too, in a space that had absolutely nothing to do with his original field. The second lesson is that consistency is the most powerful tool any artist or any person can have. Look at how Jimin built his streaming legacy. Not overnight, not with one lucky song. Song by song, album by album, day by day. Promise in 2018. Like Crazy in 2023. Who in 2024. Every single release was proof that he was growing, evolving, and refusing to coast on what he had already achieved. The third lesson is that humility makes people greater. Despite holding multiple Guinness World Records and dominating global charts, Jimin never came across as arrogant. He enlisted like any ordinary citizen, followed the rules, put in the work, and earned the respect of the toughest environment he had ever been in, not because of his fame, but because of his character. And the fourth lesson is that genuine connection with your audience is irreplaceable. All of Jimin's streaming achievements exist because of the extraordinary bond he has built with the people who listen to his music. But that bond is not one-sided. Jimin has always given everything in every performance, every recording, every public moment. The fans feel that, and they respond with a kind of loyalty and dedication that no marketing budget can manufacture. Of course, we cannot wrap this up without talking about how the world actually reacted to all of this. When news of Jimin's military commendations broke, South Korean media covered it extensively. The words "shocked" and "unexpected" appeared in almost every headline. Korean netizens who had been skeptical about whether an idol could genuinely perform in the military had to acknowledge it plainly. This person is not an ordinary artist. On Twitter, now X, Jimin-related hashtags exploded across every time zone. Armies from Indonesia, Brazil, the Philippines, the United States, Europe, all celebrating in their own way, flooding their timelines with pride, emotion, and of course, an absolute wave of adorable memes. On the music side, industry analysts at Billboard, Rolling Stone, and other major publications kept returning to what they were calling the Jimin phenomenon, trying to understand how one artist could continue to dominate global streaming without any active promotions, without any new releases, purely on the strength of a catalog that people simply could not stop listening to. One analyst described it as passive domination. Jimin did not need to be actively present in the industry to stay at the top of it. His music kept flowing. It kept streaming. The numbers kept climbing. That is a level of impact that even artists with massive promotional budgets and full label support have struggled to replicate. And the ARMY community? Their reaction was perhaps the most electric of all. One fan on X wrote, "Every day I see him breaking or making another one." And that post went viral almost immediately, because it captured the reality of Jimin's situation so perfectly. There is always another record. There is always another achievement. It just never seems to stop. Now we arrive at the biggest question in everyone's mind right now. What comes next for Park Jimin? With his military service completed in June 2025, Jimin is free to return to full activity as an artist. BTS has reunited, and the world is absolutely electric with anticipation for what they are going to do next, both as a group and individually. If we look at the pattern that Jimin has established across his entire career, it is not hard to believe that whatever he does next will be bigger than anything he has done before. A third solo album, a world tour, an unexpected international collaboration that blows the charts wide open? All of it is possible. All of it sounds incredible. What is certain is this: Park Jimin is a generational artist. He is not simply a K-pop star. He is a global phenomenon who has crossed every genre line, broken through every cultural wall, and shattered every conventional limit that anyone has ever tried to set on what an artist can achieve. The trainer who watched him become the top recruit did not just see a pop star playing soldier. They saw a human being who genuinely gives everything, in everything, every single time. And to those military trainers who perhaps never expected to be surprised by a pop artist, welcome to Jimin's world. In this world, the unexpected is completely normal. And that is the full story of how Park Jimin, the dancer from Busan, managed to shock the entire world, from Guinness World Record holders to some of the most experienced military trainers in South Korea. This is not magic. This is the result of relentless hard work, unwavering dedication, and a talent that is sharpened a little more every single day. If this video inspired you, or at the very least left you completely amazed, please hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear this story today. And drop a comment below telling us, which moment surprised you the most? Was it the Guinness records? The military commendations? Or was it all of it combined? See you in the next one. And as always, stay curious, stay inspired. Annyeong. Waving hand.